Hello, my internet friends. Oh wow. Gotta get my pad centered. Welcome to the Rigel Show. We are coming to you live. We, as in the royal we, are coming to you live from my Earth Dome here in Austin, Texas, better known as my mystical driftwood fort on the sandy beach of the cosmic Navel, where song runs through all of reality. Okay. This is a playful Theotokian riparian zone that seeks to integrate traditional values, modern values, progressive postmodern values, and that which is emerging on the bleeding edge of the evolution of culture and consciousness postmodern values. They all have a place at my table. Okay? This is where opposites interpenetrate and merge, like salt water and fresh water, finding homeostatic union in a musical estuary. Major chords and minor chords push and pull each other round and round in the swampy in-between, where you and I listen and share. Today, I am going to enter the cosmic navel by picking up on a thread from last week's conversation. This is a thread relating to the major and minor keys in music. Minor chords, major chords, and how oftentimes good music dances between the two. So what I'm going to do today is what folks in the amateur jazz scene call noodling around. Okay, so I'm going to noodle in a major key for a little bit. Then I'm going to noodle in a minor key. And then I'm going to noodle in that swampy in between. Okay. If you're out there watching, go ahead and just say hello in the chat. Say hello where you're calling in from, where you're viewing from in this cosmic process. And then I'll just know a little bit more about who's with me in this eternal present moment. All right. I am just, at this point, I just like to hear myself talk. So I'll just play some music now. Here we go. So I actually came up with a very simple little idea. Can you hear that piano? Please let me know in the comments if you can hear the piano, because I don't have my little test device with me this time. So I came up with a little melody. Oh, one last thing, important. Hey, Mandy, I'm here, Rigel, making lunch for the littles. Aw, okay. Try to keep it family appropriate. Good to see you out there. And just for your kind of protection, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. That way, in the event that this experiment doesn't really work out for your eardrums, we have an end point, and that might be a great mercy to you. Okay, Ron, good to see you, buddy. All right, I'm gonna enter the cosmic navel, you guys and gals, and those who are in between. Okay, all right, here we go. This is my sweet little major key. Okay, so I got to bring my fingers on here. What was I thinking? All right, Those are my fingers. You're just going to be able to see my right hand and a little bit of my left hand. Okay. All right, here we go. This is like that, like kind of churchy, open major chord music where we just talk about lovely things. We don't really talk about anything that's difficult. Okay. Yes. Major keys. Now we're going to kind of play around with maybe a little minor key. We're going to play the same melody, but a different bass note. Now we're going to play around with something in between. Hey, almond tree. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there because I could resolve to the minor or resolve to the major. That would be resolving into the minor or, whoops, resolve to the major. But I'm going to leave it up to you to decide. what you're going to do with that opening to resolution, but I'm not going to give it to you. Okay? I'm just going to let you kind of ask the question of yourself. Where are you in this spectrum to major, minor, liminal space? Wow. Okay, please join me because I'm starting to just get a little too attached to the sound of my voice. And I'm going to take my keys off the screen here. I dropped a StreamYard link in the chat. So I should be there for you. I'm here to just continue the conversation or start a new conversation. That's the thing about not resolving the song is like you could take that. Da, da. Oh, you could even go here. I didn't even talk about this. Da, 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 da. Okay, we could go there. Kind of like a whole different... We're still in the key of C. I basically just play white notes. That's my life, folks. All right. I don't monologue. I don't monologue like the other people in this scene. So how can music sound like memories? Oh, okay, Mandy. I know you're not on screen with me, but you're with me right now. So what, I'm curious what prompted that question. How can music sound like memories? Because I feel you on that. I think especially when I play these minor keys, it takes me back to like every part of my life where I've played minor keys, minor notes, minor melodies. How can music sound like memories? That's a good question. All right, folks, we're going to shut it down unless one of you joins me. Oh, here comes Sherry. Sherry, thank you. Sherry, thank you for sparing me from the awkwardness of having to close my stream.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I was like, oh, I'm coming.
Oh, man, I just want to savor what Mandy just said. Something about this tune instantly feels nostalgic.
I know.
Yeah.
I heard her comment about memories. That's really good.
Do you have thoughts on? I mean, I feel like of all people, Sherry, you're going to have something to say about that. Maybe it's just beyond. Maybe we can't capture that.
Beyond the veil.
Mm-hmm. Beyond the veil.
Maybe that's where our memories are.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh. You know, remembering, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remembering and anamnesis, which is the word. We're just going to go
for it.
Full theology. Full street theology, because I'm actually not qualified in anything. I just kind of read enough to get stuck in the wilderness, and then I build a driftwood fort.
Well, hey, you are as qualified as Saint Seraphim or Saint Paisios or Saint Ephraim or I think about it, Rigel.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Probably even Saint Gregory of Nyssa, my hero, because like his brothers, I think, all got the piece of paper, and he didn't. He didn't, but he got his mother's love.
And his sister's instruction.
His sister's instruction, yes.
She was she was behind the veil. Yeah. Literally, the divine feminine, like she's just, back there doing all the work.
Yep. Okay, so
So go.
Anamnesis is what Christ, Jesus, says when he says, "Do this in remembrance of me." It's do
Oh,
this in anamnesis of me, which is like not, from my understanding, that word doesn't really translate to English very well. It's kind of like has a lot of meaning to it that's not just like, remember that time when we like got really drunk and like jumped in the ocean naked? Although that does actually sound like an ontological anamnesis that I want to. I think I'm always trying to get back to the ocean naked.
and how do you spell it?
An
Yeah.
anem
I
anem and then nesis anamnesis.
Anamnesis. Okay, what is the old Google say here?
Well, what Google
The
says.
remembering of things from a supposed previous existence in Platonic philosophy.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
It's also, I think, kind of the way it was explained to me
Oh wow.
by like a Greek Hebrew professor was that it's kind of like a participating in an eternal reality.
Yeah, it says here in Plato's theory of epistemology, anamnesis refers to the recollection of innate knowledge acquired before birth. So that that's really interesting because
Cosmic Navel. This is like, okay. Say why it's interesting.
well, because when you asked me about what do I think Mandy meant by that, or what does that mean, and I said beyond the veil, I was actually thinking of a particular experience, and I've mentioned this before. I don't know if you've heard it. I've just been kicking around here too long. um, but when I was 5, I had this visionary experience
Hmm.
where I, I mean, I had a preceding conversation with God, but we won't get into that because that's kind of different. But then I realized I remember holding my skin and doing this and going, okay, this dies,
Mm-hmm.
right? But whatever is me, that just can't die. And I don't know why I was thinking about it. I still wonder to this day why I was thinking about that. And then I got this sentence in my head: the me that is thinking about me dying doesn't die. And
You
then,
were thinking about that when you were 5?
yeah, I was
Oh
5.
my gosh.
And then I saw in my mind's eye, but it felt like it was in the room too. But I can't say I saw it with my eyes. But I saw this me, which was this glowing orb, okay? And it went up to this, what I now describe as a murmuration of other glowing orbs, like a starling murmuration. It was a body, like a starling murmuration is, but it was not, it was constantly flowing and changing. And I remember seeing it, and I can remember like tracking it with my eyes, like going, so yeah, it was going far away from me, right? But it was me. And I remember thinking, that's me. That's me. Even though I was in my bed, right? And I was going home to where I came from.
Wow.
And that's kind of always been my guiding, foundational spiritual experience. And I've always been throwing up spaghetti at it to see if it sticks. And then I read this, whoops, and it says, a recollection of innate knowledge acquired before birth. Because here's the thing, I always wondered, like, how did I'm 5. Like, but this is like innate knowledge acquired before birth, because in my analogy, I was going back to where I came from.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the scary thing. I was reading, out of curiosity, I wanted to read the anathemas against Origen,
Hmm.
which were given 350 years after he died. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Hmm.
That's like the ultimate cancel culture.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's go there. Let's do it.
And one of the things it says in there that it would be anathema to describe yourself as a glowing sphere. And I almost fell over, Rigel.
What?
Yeah, look it up. They're listed and it's in there. And I'm like, I've been doing that for like, I actually didn't tell that story for many, 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 many years. Because I just didn't know what to make of it. And I was afraid, as a Protestant, you don't come up with these things, right? Pre-existence and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read that and I'm like, I mean, first I was like, okay, I got to stop talking about it. That was my first thought. And then my second thought was, other people saw themselves as glowing orbs too, obviously.
Why would that be an anathema?
Well, I think it was because let's just let's just be honest about Origin. Origin wasn't an originist.
Yeah.
Okay. So there were a group of people calling themselves originists and like Seventh day Adventists or
Hmm.
Baptists or, you know what I mean? All the
Yeah.
ists out there.
Hmm.
And they clung on to this whole, well, really, it was a thought experiment on Origin's part of preexistence of souls.
Hmm.
They clung on to that. But here's the deal. It just floored me that they had seen themselves as described themselves as a glowing sphere. Because I mean, I was 5. I never read Origin. You know what I mean? Like I had no idea that any of that was out there. And that's what I could see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a conception that your mind comes up with because it has to. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's who knows, right? But yeah, interesting.
That is interesting. It's funny you bring up Origin because I just saw Jordan Daniel Wood post a little, like a page from Homily 15.
Ah, on his Substack.
No, it was just on Facebook,
Okay.
which, you know, it's funny.
Well,
Um,
Father John Bear has been trying, in his very orthodox way, where you circle and circle and circle
hmm.
around the things, to revive Origin's very astute reputation. Honestly, like everything, even that Protestants know as exegesis, came from him. So
Yeah.
the man was like just insanely astute, like God fearing, and like
I,
so productive, like
so
incredible,
productive. Yeah.
you
And
know.
I just wonder if maybe he was too far outside the veil at the time. Like they weren't ready for him.
Well, he wandered in all kinds of places, right? Like he was into Greek philosophy. He
Hmm.
consulted with rabbis. He was looking everywhere, and which I can resonate with that, you know,
Hmm.
because if God is everywhere present, filling all things, right?
It's
And
pretty freeing. It's a pretty freeing idea.
well, yeah, let's take that seriously. Like
Yeah.
without go running headlong over a cliff. Like, there's always that too, right? But and he was often speaking philosophically in his writings. And I remember I read almost all of On First Principles. And in there several times he would say, let's do this thought experiment. And then he'd talk about something, and then he'd say, because I'm doing this for the first time, I'm the only person who's ever done this. People are going to come after me and they're going to rightly correct me. So, like, don't take what I'm saying to be the gospel truth, in other words, right? Like, let's just entertain. And I think he was, well, he believed what we say we believe. He believed it, that God was everywhere present, filling all things, right? So he was willing to wander around, like Meister Eckhart says, come to the desert if you'd like to see, you know. To get out of the city and into the desert and all that kind of thing, So, yeah,
Yeah.
Origin was my first encounter with Orthodox theology. If you
Wow.
want to call it, well, I would call it that because it's really that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and after reading him, I was like, okay, I have to go there.
Yeah.
Wherever
Yeah.
that is, I'm going there.
Yeah. Do you mind if I just read a little bit of this?
Sure, love it.
I'm gonna even pull it up on. Let's see. Can I do this? Yeah. Let's
Just so you know,
just.
Rigel, I have to
Yeah.
go in 15 minutes.
That's
So,
perfect. That's perfect. Here's the thing, Sherry. If someone else doesn't show up, this day is actually I'm
busy.
like very busy trying to get out of town. We're going to New Mexico tomorrow.
Oh,
And so every minute that I'm, not doing some little house thing to
mm-hmm.
get us ready is
Precious time.
precious. Yeah. All right. Let me just read a little bit of this and then,
Cool.
okay, we'll make that full screen. Okay, so it says, concerning the things that followed after Jabin, I don't know what this is. Josiah, maybe? Okay. Unless those physical wars bore the figure of spiritual wars, I do not think the books of Jewish history would ever have been handed down by the apostles to the disciples of Christ who came to teach peace so that they could be read in the churches. For what good was the description of wars to those to whom Jesus says, my peace I give to you, my peace I leave to you, and to whom it is commanded and said through the apostles, not avenging yourselves, your own selves, and rather you receive injury and you suffer offense. Anyways, he kind of goes on here, and but that little bit really spoke to me. And I think this was what maybe why Origin was kind of dangerous is sorry, let me remove this. Is that he was very allegorical in the way he, I think, approached scriptures. So, like, those descriptions of wars were not meant to be, commands on how to relate to your fellow human being. Oh, Sherry, I think you're frozen. I think you're frozen. Just play a little interlude music while we wait for Sherry to return. Oh, yeah. That doesn't quite work. All right. Let's see. Mandy, what was that you were reading from? That was, I'm actually not sure what the translation of this is. If this is a John Bear translation, I'm guessing it probably is, because Jordan Daniel Wood, I think, is kind of in conversation with Father John Bear. But it says it's homily 15, and homilies, I'm reading something upside down. Homilies on Joshua. Homilies on Joshua. So that must be it. I can ask him. Well, if I don't see Sherry back in here, and if any of y'all don't want to join me, I'm going to close things down, because I actually have, well, first of all, I don't monologue, but I have a lot of packing to do to get out of town for my son's fall break. But a couple announcements. Sherry's back. Here we go. I was just going to say a couple of announcements real quick. For anyone out there who is in Austin, I am starting an Austin estuary. So we're going to have our first meetup. I believe it's October 20th. But reach out to me if you want to get some more details. I think that's all I had to say. Okay, Sherry.
I'm sorry, my power just went out and came back.
No way.
So I was just like, oh, no. I'm going to have to go back and watch the reading, because I'm really curious.
Yeah. Well, I can just read the first little the part that I'll just read the little part again here. He said, unless those physical wars bore the figure of spiritual wars, right, I do not think the books of Jewish history would ever have been handed down by the apostles to the disciples of Christ, who came to teach peace so that they could be read in the churches. For what good was that description of wars to those whom Jesus says, my peace I give to you, my peace I leave to you? That's kind of the main gist of it.
So what does that say to you?
I mean, that says to me that there's something more to these stories than just what's on the surface.
Well, yeah. Okay, so you know what comes to my mind? Me dancing. Me dancing in the wind, watching a swarm of dragonflies, and then one of them comes out and lands on my nose. Right when I realize that I had a dream that I was walking with the wind and his face was the dragonfly wings. Okay, so I'm like, oh, this is like spirit and matter. It's all commingling, and then it comes out and it goes, wake up, wake up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what Origin's talking about. And I don't know exactly. I haven't spent enough time with it, and I have to go now. But I don't know what he means by why the disciples would have taken those stories of war and used them to illustrate my peace I leave with you. Okay, what I think he's pointing at, and this is something I've talked about, when Jesus says he's going to give us peace that passes understanding. One of the things I realized about that was that the only time peace passes understanding is when you're in the midst of trials and tribulations, right? Like if you're, I've used the example, if you're sitting in a hot tub and you have the peace that passes understanding, it's not really that confusing.
No.
You're not going to ask yourself, oh, why am I so peaceful?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're in the midst of a war,
yeah,
and you're peaceful, then you go, why am I so peaceful? I shouldn't be this peaceful. Or you're marching to a death camp, or you're living in a gulag, or you're, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, for me, and I'll let you go here in a sec, but for me, that a storm hit my life when I became a Christian.
Yeah.
Like everything that could go wrong went wrong because I kind of just asked for it. I was like, show me the way. And God brought me into a storm, and like I got audited by the IRS. My car was like just completely breaking apart, really expensive. Like I was financially just, I was at the edge of myself,
Yeah.
and yet there was, even in the midst of all of that stress, and then there was like relational stress on top of that. I
Yeah.
was like breaking up with my girlfriend at the time, and it was so much, and yet there was this like thread of peace that kept me kind of together through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Jeremy was talking about this prayer. He thought it was from Saint Basil, but we recently talked to Father Paul Trubenbach, his priest, on our channel,
Okay.
and it's, oh gosh, who is it now? He said, oh, now I forgot. But anyways, it wasn't Saint Basil. But the prayer was, oh, Saint Gregory of Palamas, illumine my darkness, was his prayer, constant
Mm.
prayer. And Jeremy was saying how, that's kind of been something he picked up and started to ask for. And I said to him, oh God, I would be so reticent to let those words pass from my lips. Like, honestly, like, do I want to see that?
Mm-hmm.
I would have to think really, really, really long and hard about whether or not I was ready for that. It's kind of like when I went off my SSRIs. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, we're going to take a little tiny piece off, and then we're going to, take a week off, lay in bed, do the
Mm-hmm.
thing, and then wait 3 months and try it again, because there's only so much we can take, right? Like, but yeah, that's what God does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sherry, I will let you go, and maybe I'll just play like a few more little notes just to kind
I love
of.
I loved what you were doing. More of that, please, Rigel. Like, it's just so. When you said you were going to stop, I was like, no. I like how you're pointing out how it's changing direction, because you can actually follow the movement in your own heart, or your
Yeah.
soul, right? You can see where it's going and what it's doing. So,
Yeah. No, that's fun.
mhm,
I can
awesome.
I can do that all day.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your trip.
Thank you. And I will probably, I'm guessing I will skip out on next week.
Mhm. You're gone for the whole week?
Yep. Whole week.
Nice. And the skies will be amazing. The light, like I was just talking to a friend this morning, and he was declaring the glory of God in the heavens, sending
Mm-hmm.
the sunrise and sunset pictures. And I was like, oh man, the autumn light, when it comes in at a slant
Mm-hmm.
like that, do you know that poem by Emily Dickinson? Let me just read it to you really quick. It's not long. And I always think of it in the fall because, okay, here's the thing. The autumn light comes in and at a slant, and it usually illumines all the dirt on your floors and your windows. Right?
Yep. Yeah, because it's creating like tiny little shadows.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this is what slant light does. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the poem. You'll love this. You'll love this. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.
Mm. Yeah. That's good. I've definitely heard that one. Tell it
Yeah,
slant.
tell all the truth, but tell it slant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, you
Uh,
have a great trip, and get illumined
I,
in the
sh-
next
I
account.
will try.
Okay.
All right, Sherry.
All right.
Blessings. All right, bringing my keys back on stage with me. A little more sip of coffee here. We'll see if we can get back into that liminal space between major and minor. Ooh, I like that. All right. See y'all in a couple weeks.